Hi, I'm Kim. I am a published author and the hostess of Writer Groupie. If this is your first time here, thank you very, very much for checking out this video. Now today what I want to talk about is daily writing. Why is that so important? Or not, as the case may be. Coming up next on Writer Groupie. Okay, now to get started, I guess maybe we have to figure out what we mean by daily writing. What does it mean to write every day? Well, it means to write regularly, not necessarily daily. You can write regularly and still have a good writing situation, a good writing practice, if you will. You can do it regularly, not daily. And also, it doesn't have to be on your work in progress. You do not have to be writing on your work in progress in order to call yourself a daily writer or a writer who performs daily. That is not necessary. Writing on your work in progress is something that you can do on a daily basis, but you don't have to do it on a daily basis. I hope I'm making that clear. Also, practice makes perfect, but if you have to miss a day or a week or a month, you're not going to lose your ability to write. So a daily writing habit does not mean that you have to write every day. I know that sounds conflictual. I know that sounds contradictory, but hang with me just a minute and I'm going to explain it to you. To really grasp what it means to have a daily writing habit, you have to go all the way back to the words, what is a writer? What is a writer? What makes a writer? And the whole basic idea is somebody who writes. A writer is someone who writes. That's it. That's the whole tamale. I did not say anything about writing daily, did I? No. A writer is someone who writes. And while I'm at it, let me just say, actually physically performing the task called writing is that a writer is not always publishing. You can be a writer and you can write on a regular basis, but you don't always have to be publishing what you write. It doesn't make you any less of a writer if you're not writing in publishing books and magazines and on your blog and things like that. Sometimes you can write in your journal. You're still a writer. And also let me say that just because you write, whether it's professionally or amateurly, does not always make you a writer. You may not call yourself a writer. I have a lot of people that I know who wrote the papers that they had to write for school, but once they got out of school, they never attempted to do it again. Writing was not something that they really cared about. Likewise, they didn't read much either. And that's okay. It takes all kinds to make up this old world. But I just want to emphasize the fact that anybody can call themselves a writer. You can put your pencil to paper or your fingers on a keyboard and you can type up something and you can do things with it. You can share it with others. You can put it in your diary. You can do all kinds of things with it. But it is not always the thing that people consider calling themselves a writer. They don't call themselves a writer for everything that they write. Okay, so let me clarify. Daily practice does improve your status as a writer, especially if you are seeking the terminology. If you want to be considered a writer in today's world, then daily practice is something that should just work its way into your schedule. You should be practicing daily. And like I said before, it doesn't have to be in a work in progress. It doesn't have to be for a magazine, a book, any kind of periodical, not even for your blog post. But everybody that wants to be an experienced writer, there's the word, experienced professional writer, does need to put in the time in the chair. So then the question is going to come, how much or how often should I be writing if I want to have a daily writing practice? Now, let me just say, I am not the final authority on daily writing. I do a daily writing practice. Sometimes I miss weeks at a time. I am still getting over this bronchitis, and trust me, I've not gotten as much writing done as I really needed to do. I'm trying to get the next book in my series out, but it's just not feasible when you're not feeling well to try and force yourself to write. Either the writing is going to be stale, or you're just going to be burned out and not want to touch it again for some time. Either way, that's not helping you have a daily writing practice. It's my experience and my professional opinion, if you want to call it that any writing is beneficial. If you can only put in 15 minutes at your computer every day to get something written on a piece, maybe it's a poem, maybe it's a short story, maybe it is a book, maybe it is a work in progress, whatever it is, if 15 minutes is all you can do, that's better than nothing, because practice does make perfect. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Remember what I said, though. Just because you have to miss a day or a week or a month or however long you might have to get away from it does not mean you're going to lose your ability to write. We all picked this up at a very young age, and we still use it today. We haven't lost the ability to do it. So don't worry about it if you can't get to it. But as far as how much and how often, I think it's up to the individual. However much is important to you for that day, however often is important to you in the course of a week or a month. That is the most important question, is what do I want to do? What should I be trying to accomplish? And you know me, I love goal setting, so set some goals. I also don't think that it can be mentioned enough that writers need to read. Go find a good book on writing and read it. It's going to give you ideas. It's going to be very helpful to you, because if you're an old writer like I am, an over 50 writer, let's say, you've probably read a lot of writing books in your time, but did you know that writing mores, rules, and stuff like that change? They do. They change, and they change pretty often. And I'll just say, things are changing now. The industry is changing now. In order for you to keep up with it, you need to be reading some books on it. And then the best thing that you can do after you've read a good book and gotten some ideas is go out and try it. Try out that tidbit of something that you found in a writing book. Perhaps it was on plotting. Maybe you found a great book on plotting and you said, you know what, I've really never done that before. I think I'm going to try that. And so you sit down at your computer, or you sit down with your notebook and your fancy pencil, and you start writing some things that have to do with plot. That's the most important thing about daily writing, is sometimes it's not real writing. Sometimes it's plotting. Sometimes it's just playing with words and playing with ideas. To me, that's all the same thing. That's all practicing the writing craft. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I keep getting off track. I digress. What I want to say now is that you need to practice what you're inputting. You need to be inputting information about writing, and you need to be exacting that back out again and using it. Get busy and put some of it to use. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. Well, you guys, the time has come. I got to cut this short. I know I hate it. I hate it just like you do. I want to go on and on and have a lot to say on this subject. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to hold it off and create a second video. We'll do a part 2 on daily writing and what it is and what it's not, and those tips and misconceptions that people have about it. But before I go, I just wanted to say that I'm very excited. I've recently gotten word that my little short story, Apocalypse, was accepted into the Writers Association, the Florida Writers Association, their anthology, their 14th edition for 2022. It made it into the top 60, and that's a pretty big accomplishment, I'd say. And I'm really excited about it, and I wanted to share that. And I'll be putting up some, icons of the cover. And so you can be looking forward to purchasing that on Amazon in the fall. Yes, it's called Thrills and Chills. And Apocalypse was just something that it was a chapter from this story that I've been working on for a very, very long time. It's one of those that you just write a little here and you write a little there. And I brushed up the first scene or two and submitted it, and they really liked it, and it's going to be in the anthology. So there you go, something to look forward to in the fall. Hopefully, the 5th book in the Mount Moriah series will be out before then. you can look forward to that as well. Well, until next time, you guys, I will see you in the next video. Come and join me on Writer Groupie. Like and subscribe.